and we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we're talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We're talking about practice. But we talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice? We're talking about practice, man. We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. We ain't talking about the game. We're talking about practice, man.
I'm Jennifer Michelle McEuen. I've been painting for almost 20 years, which is crazy. Like, I've been alive for that long. And I first started oil painting, which is my main medium, when I was about 17, I believe. And I've been making art my whole life and started really young. It's always been something that I've loved to do. And so as I've grown and continued to just live this path, I create original artwork and I sell my work all over the world. I create commissioned paintings. I teach in person and online, and I'm a mother of two beautiful boys. I am currently living in southern Idaho in a sweet little village town where it's a pretty chill spot to raise two sweet little people and have a nice quiet studio where I can connect with the world. So there's just a real quick overview.
Cool. How old are your boys?
So my youngest is going to be 2 in October, and my older boy is going to be 7 in September. So
you got your hands full.
yeah, tied in Django. I'm really busy with them, and any moment I have, I'm either working on a project or just working on my art business, and my life is full of creative, beautiful things. So I'm very grateful.
Tell me kind of a little bit about your practicing, about your habits, and just about how you show up to the easel on the daily.
Yeah, whew. Well, I guess it just depends on what I'm working on. Like currently, I'm working on a commission, which is right behind me. Little sneak peek. I'm almost finished. And thank you. It's actually for a book cover, and the title of the book is called Indra's Net, and it's basically a Buddhist Hindu philosophy of everyone being interconnected, these jewels of consciousness, and yeah, and it's the author's take is basically like a metaphorical interpretation of the tarot, and it's very fascinating. I'm super honored to be doing it. It's been a very rewarding and educational experience. So let's see, and basically whatever I'm working on at the time, I just pull myself into it. A lot of the time I'm working on multiple things. I like having several projects going on at once. So as you know, oils, they take a bit to dry unless you're using a quick dry medium, which I am for this painting. But it's nice to kind of let it breathe and work on something else and have fresh eyes when you return to the other project.
Now, I've never worked with a faster drying medium for oil painting, so I'm kind of curious how that works. Like, what does the dry time increase to?
Yeah, so I've been using this walnut alkyd medium. It looks like this. And it's sweet. It's non-toxic. It's way better than liquid, which is what I was using in art school. And even Galkyd, those, oh, there's like a bunch of flies in here right now. They're pretty strong, especially after like not using them. If I've smelled them recently, it's like, oh my gosh, can't believe I used this for as long as I did. And they dry in about 24 hours to the touch, depending on how thick the paint is, of course. And yeah, so it definitely speeds it up. It's actually quite nice.
So back to the practice. Are you you have a daily practice? Are you a early riser? What are some of your routines that kind of help get you in that flow?
Right. So usually I will have my first session of painting when my youngest son goes down for a nap, which is usually around about noon. And so I got about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I'll work on my artwork or I'll work on, some kind of admin task or whatever else I gotta do. And yeah, and then I'll get some time in the evening, and that's how it's kind of working right now. I actually have this really incredible um, a neighbor babysitter who will watch my boys for a couple hours, and that's really helpful. And that happens a couple times a week, depending on her schedule as well. So that's how it is. Before I had babies, I would paint for like 4 to 7 hours a day, and that's just I would just grind it, and I loved it. But um, I have I have a new kind of presence with time. That's what happens when you're a bit more limited, but it also helps me be very mindful of the time that I have. And I actually time myself when I'm working now. So I actually know how much time I've spent on a painting, which seems, like a logical thing to do, but I never did it until like a couple years ago. So,
Right. I like what you say about just being more mindful of the time that you're putting into it. You have much less time to just dilly dally and be in the studio. And so you have to be focused and get work done while you're there.
right. Yeah. So it takes me a little bit longer to complete things, but that's okay. It's a season of life. And I'm working on more exciting projects than I ever have, and it just keeps becoming more rich and expansive as time continues. So, yeah. So that's kind of like my process right now as far as like how I show up in the studio, and when I do have a moment, I'll sometimes it's hard to just get right to painting. Sorry about these
I
flies.
saw that one go right in your eye.
Yeah, my windows are open because this room it's the hottest room in the house. So I leave my windows open just to like keep things circulating. So these flies are just in here, and I was trying to get some before the interview, but I guess that's what happens when you live in the mountains and it's summer. So
I've always felt like humans should grow like little floppy ears that can like more like get the flies off you, kind of like a horse, like just something to trigger and get it off of you, especially if you're around them a lot.
yeah, that'd be great. If I just had floppy ears that could just whip them off. So yeah, let's see, what else am I working on? I'm about to start a couple new series, which I'm really looking forward to diving into. Um,
If I
I'm
could
about
just say
to.
too, I love your Rainbow Warrior series, all those portraits you did of the great artists.
Oh, thank you so
That
much.
yeah, that was a really cool series that you did.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I put a lot of time and energy into that series. It started actually as an inspiration in 2011, and I was like, yeah, that would be so cool that to have these portraits that are embodying these energies. And then I actually started my first two in 2012, and then completed the whole thing in 2018. So,
And so, who all did you paint? I know Amanda and Chris and Philip Rubinov Jacobson. Who else did you paint in that? Yourself
yes.
too, right?
And who?
Yourself. You did a self
Yes.
portrait. Yes.
Yeah, I did. I wasn't planning on painting myself for it, but a fellow artist suggested it actually. Morgan Mandala. She put that idea into my mind because I was talking about the heart chakra, and she was like, "You should paint yourself as the heart chakra." And I was like, "Why not? That makes sense because in each of the portraits, all of the chakras are actually placed at the heart chakra, because it's like, oh, I'm seeing them from my heart's eye, and this is the energy that they're embodying. So that's why I did that, and that was in like 2013, I believe. And the first one, his name is Anthony, and he is just, he's a very inspiring person. He's very earthy and health conscious, and he just really inspired me to be a more grounded, healthy human being. And so I was like, oh, he'd be a great like first chakra rainbow warrior, because I just felt inspired to be I don't know, a better human being in this dimension. So I thought, that would start out well. And he's like an artist of consciousness, not exactly a fine artist. He's like a healthcare guide coach. He works a lot with like the spine, and he's like a Czech practitioner. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Czech Institute.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's really cool. He comes from a really powerful place on just being a healthier human being and a highly functional body and mind, and his perspective is very holistic. He talks about the soul. It's not just, the outer world, it's the whole setup. So yeah, check it out. It's definitely fascinating and helpful information,
Now,
especially if you.
is that
What was
Czech
that?
like is that Czech like the country, or Czech like a check mark?
Check his. Can't think of his first name right now. I
Maybe
think
we
it's like
can find. Maybe you
Paul.
can send me a link, and I'll put it in the show notes.
Absolutely, yeah. It's spelled Chek.
Hmm.
Yeah, he has like a whole institute, and there's a lot of people that have studied under him, and so yeah, it's great. He's spreading his powerful message, and then the second Rainbow Warrior is Ashley Foreman. I don't know if you're familiar with her work.
I met
She's
her
also
once. I met her once at a festival in California. I did the photography for the gallery there, and she was the gallery mama running the place. So yeah, I know her a little bit.
awesome. Yeah, and we were spending a lot of time together in like 2011, 2012. She started the formation of this small collective of female artists. We were called Collective Manifestation, and we collaborated at a festival, Snow Globe Festival in Lake Tahoe, the turning point to 2012 from 2011. And I think like six of us. I can't totally remember at the top of my head of how many there were. I can find some pictures, but I think there was about seven of us, and we would just all create these public collaborations together, and it was awesome. Um, I think we collaborated at a MAPS event in San Francisco, and we collaborated on a couple other events. I think one of them was Earth Day, right downtown San Francisco at the Capitol building. We did some really cool things. It was fun.
That's good to be in a group like that too, where people are sharing opportunities and getting you out there and doing some cool things.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was fun. There was a lot of energy, and um, it's always a very educational experience when you collaborate with multiple people at the same time. I've done a lot of those on the journey. I haven't been creating as many collabs lately, but it has its challenges, but it's a really beautiful thing when people can just kind of come together and turn into one artist. And sometimes it doesn't always turn out that way, because people will get attached to what they create, and yeah, it's great. It's definitely a learning experience.
And to practice and letting go, and achieving more with a team.
Yeah, precisely. Yes, we did some really cool things and some really fun memories. But yeah, so Ashley is the second chakra expression. And at the time, there were a lot of, like, I was just noticing a lot of spiders, and she would talk about like the grandmother spider all the time. So I incorporated the web, and she would wear her alien skull sweater, so that's in there. You know, she's got that edge, and it was cool. It was cool to paint her. I painted that in Berkeley. I was living there for a little bit, and then she was actually the catalyst of what inspired me to go to Italy and study at the Expanded Visions painting seminar, which is where I met Amanda Sage and Chris Dyer. And that's where I learned the Mish technique, the very beginning, the introduction. And that's where I decided for Amanda to be the third chakra portrait. And I was like, oh, this would be so cool. I feel like she's totally that third chakra energy. And so I was like, hey, Amanda, if you could express the chakra energy, like, what would it be? And I remember she was like rubbing her belly, like the solar plexus. You know, she didn't say that, but I was like, you totally are the solar plexus. So that's what inspired me to do that. And so it was very personable. I know all of the people that I painted and asked for their permission to paint them for this. And then I thought Chris Dyer would be such a rad embodiment of the throat chakra. So I asked him, and he was like, yeah, that sounds great. And yeah, and then I didn't actually end up starting that one, or I restarted it in 2018. I started it, but it wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. So he sent me like a more recent reference photo at the time, and it worked a lot better. So it's definitely good to have a solid reference when you're painting a portrait.
Mm-hmm.
And then for, you know, a lot of things. And then let's see, the throat chakra, then the third eye chakra. So yes, Philip Rubinoff Jacobson was the third eye. I studied with him in Boulder, Colorado in 2014. And I actually had first met him in Austria for a moment back in 2012 when I was on my European journey. And so that's kind of like the first seed of meeting him, and he was just super sweet and kind on Facebook, and was like very interested in my work. And I was like, oh, it'd be so fun to like learn the technique deeper with him. And so I went for it, and I was living in Boulder at the time, or like right next to Boulder, specifically Gun Barrel. And so that was like a 3-week seminar as well. And then I studied with him in 2016 in Peyerbach, Austria. And yeah, I just felt like he's such a visionary. His imagination is incredible. If you just look at his paintings, they're very, very unique. His work is vast, you know. All of his paintings have their own story, and the imagery he decides upon is just very unique and interesting. So I thought you would be great as like the third eye rainbow warrior, because he helps unleash that expression in other artists as well. And then the crown chakra is Martina Hoffman, who has been a great inspiration to me for a long time. I first discovered her work, as well as Amanda's, when I was in art school back in 2008, 2010, in that span of time. And I was actually able to live in her home in 2014 when I went to the seminar with Philip. And I lived there with my partner at the time for about 6 months. And so
That's amazing.
it was incredible. She was so kind to let us rent from her and be there. And I feel like I learned from Robert Venosa just through his spirit, because so many of his masterpieces were there, and I got to just absorb them. So it felt like I was a student of him, but not in a human way. just very astral, and I got to see his beautiful work in person every day for half a year. And yeah, I mean, it was an incredible experience. And I had asked her permission to be the crown chakra because part of her mission in her artwork is to unify the whole. And so I wanted to encapsulate that through her portrait.
I think that's so cool the way you put that, just about Robert Venosa, about his work, just surrounding you. And like, that's a huge teacher, just like what the art that you surround yourself with, that that's doing work on another level.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. It was very dreamy, and I'll never forget it for sure.
Well, it sounds like you've had some really amazing experiences to learn from all these people. It seems like, yeah, this was
Yeah,
a
they
destined path.
absolutely. I know the doors that have opened on the painting path have been incredible. I got to meet basically all of my heroes in a very natural progression. Um, I first started learning how to paint with oils from a teacher through a college BYU program. So I was taking private lessons with her in high school, and that's when I first discovered oil painting. And I remember walking into the studio where she would teach her students, and there was this big painting, and the colors were just vibrating. They were so just rich, and I was like, "What is that?" She's like, "Oh, that's an oil painting," and I was like, I want to do that. Like yeah, acrylics are cool. I appreciate acrylics. I appreciate watercolor and gouache and colored pencils, but that is beautiful. And so I started learning how to paint with oils, and every time I would finish my class with her, painting with oil, I just felt so expansive, like everything or anything was possible. and and I was like, I want to do this forever. This is going to take a lifetime to master. So I went for it, and here I am, almost 20 years later, and I'm still at it. So
Well, and then you said you kind of learned the mesh technique in like 2012 with Amanda and Chris. So you had been working with oils for quite a while, or for a number of years before you started the mesh technique, which is kind
yes,
of its own thing to wrangle in, right?
absolutely. Renaissance painting techniques. I'm definitely a hybrid of like the old world and the new world because after these college courses that I was taking privately, I went to art school in San Francisco, California, and I was taking the fine art painting program. I was there for 2.5 years, which was amazing. I mean, living in San Francisco was an education in itself and so inspiring. and and there I mostly painted alla prima. That was kind of like the more contemporary approach. So just basically what we would do at the beginning, you work a lot from still life, from live models, and that was invaluable. It definitely taught me a lot, and it teaches you really good habits. Art school does. So I have that educational background. I didn't do the full program because it was incredibly expensive, and it was a 5 year program. And about 2.5 years later, I was just kind of like feeling a lot of pressure, and I felt like I could be an artist without having to get that degree and being, $300,000 in debt. It's like I think I can do this, and I don't need the piece of paper because, um, that I think it's possible. And so I went and I apprenticed a professional working artist. She was actually a printmaker in San Francisco, and just kind of watched her in her business, and I helped her with her screen prints and went to a couple events with her and just kind of watched how she ran her business. And, you know, she was doing well. She was supporting herself and her boyfriend who was in college at the time, and it was really cool. And then I actually went back to Salt Lake for a little bit, for about 11 months or 9 months, I think, and decided that I wanted to go to Europe. Like, I needed to go, and that was what I was going to do. So I went back to the Bay Area, and then I connected with Ashley Foreman. And when she was like, I just imagine us in Italy learning together with Amanda Sage, I was like, okay, this is the invitation from the universe to go to Europe, and I'm going to go to that seminar, and I'm going to go learn the Mish technique.
And so was that like a month-long seminar in Italy?
Pretty much,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And it was at Torre Superior?
Yes, yeah, and that was a really powerful year. That was also when they began to form the Visionary Academy of Art, and so that was really cool to witness that. And um, yeah, I it was a good intro to it. Chris was actually a fellow student at that seminar, so I was learning from Amanda, Maura Holden, Lawrence Caruana, um, Andrew Gonzalez, and Daniel Morante, and
An all-star cast.
yeah, it was fantastic. It was an incredible experience. We all had a blast. I'll remember it forever. Let's see, and then Cuba Ambrose was they were guest teachers, so they had like a little guest teacher day, and yeah, I mean the whole experience was really beautiful. And I had met a fellow artist there who I was in a relationship with for a few years, and we collaborated. His name's Matthew DeGrotto, and we did a lot of collaborations, and we actually went to Colorado together, inspired by a few other artists. And so I was in Colorado for like, I mean, the first time was like 6 months, and then we returned for another 6 months, like a year later or something. So like all together, I was there for about a year, and that was like the beginning of the big explosion in Colorado. That was
Mm-hmm.
in 2013,
Mm-hmm.
and that was like when No Fest was like a big visionary gallery, um, and Threda had just landed there, and I met Peter and Brian Scott Hampton uh, in Oakland before that, and then they landed there and started their whole beautiful Threda experience. so
I'm
so
wearing
all of
my
that was
Alex
so
Gray. I'm wearing my Alex Gray shirt today, but usually, like any day of the week, you're gonna catch me in Thread threads. Like that's my wardrobe for sure.
awesome. I love that. Yeah, Peter is a wonderful guy, and I love what he's doing. And I mean, it's so great to be able to give the opportunity for artists to share their artwork on clothing. So yeah, I've been able to really see some beautiful uh, growing seeds in the art community. Like the beginning of a lot of fantastic projects, and I'm so grateful for that. And then yeah, then working with Phil and his awesome wife Mantra Cora, who I also learned from in Boulder and in Pyrebach, definitely enriched and deepened my understanding of the Mish technique. We did the the Italian version, which is it's a bit different. Like the egg tempura, it's a little creamier and buttery. It's not as acrylic like. I mean, I wouldn't say egg tempura and casein is acrylic like. I mean, I guess it kind of has that quick dry time, but it's just has a different feel. and it was really neat. It was like grisaille studies and glazing and I mean all of these things that I've been learning basically all of my 20s. I still incorporate it all. Learning the mesh technique forever changed the way I paint, the way I see things. I still paint alla prima in ways. So I work in a lot of different approaches. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, you were getting into your new series before we
Oh
started
yeah.
talking about the Rainbow Warriors. So, yeah, I'd love to give you a chance to talk about your new series that you're working on.
Yeah. Right. Just given the downloads of the story. Yeah, so I'm about to actually begin this series. I've been thinking about it since like the last 2 years, and it's called Floral Moods. And they're basically like these large portraits of florals, which I've never really like been into before. I like painting flowers like as a part of a painting, but I've never just been like, I just want to paint flowers until recently. Maybe it's like the motherhood aspect. But I did a commission for a friend and she wanted this large scale hydrangea painting, and while I was painting it, it was incredibly healing and so much fun. The way the colors flow and it's in nature, and I loved it being around me while I was working on it and having it on the wall or on my easel. And I was like, man, I just want to make a whole garden. so so that's something that I'm excited to begin. And let's see. And then the other series are kind of, there's a few of them. I don't know if I want to go too deep into them because I'm still deciding, you know. I have so many ideas all the time. I'm just like, oh, I want to do that and that. This is going to take me like 10 years. So, but that's okay. And yeah, so as far as that series goes, that's what I'm going to be creating here soon after this one.
I wanted to ask you about like your commission work and like how do you do your commissions and how do you mentally navigate that? Because yeah, commissions have been hard for me to kind of dial in, and I feels like I'll take one on and then I'm kind of disappointed that I take it on because I'm unwilling to make or unable to make it work for me, for my vision for them, and sometimes for theirs too. And
Mhm.
it's a lot of responsibility to take on commission work, I feel. So I'd love for you to just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, it seems like it can be a tough thing for some artists, and it can be frustrating depending on just like what, the project is, and if they want something like kind of different than what you normally do, or like what kind of freedoms you have. I personally love commission work. When I first started painting, I actually had my first commission after like 6 months of painting. So it's definitely been a part of my process. And a big reason why I wanted to go to art school is because I really wanted to know how to paint anything. Um, and I was like, oh, I could make this work if I just, paint lots of commissions and then paint, whatever else I want to paint. And um, and so I enjoy that. That's a lot of how I make my income, and it's usually a really great experience. Um, I'm so grateful that a lot of the clients that come to me and want a commission from me, they usually give me a lot of freedom. Sometimes they give me some framework, um, and and it works out well. I mean, this one that I'm currently working on has been slightly challenging because there are a couple other people involved, not just like one client, and they had very specific things that they wanted me to do, and I actually had to start over and get a bigger surface because there were so many details to include. And so it's been a challenging experience and definitely a learning experience. but I'm almost finished. And, again, I'm grateful for the opportunity, but it definitely gives me a bit of a different perspective for the future commissions that come into my world.
How do you kind of give your clients a timeline based on the commission? And I think we were talking before we started the recording a little bit about how you've been tagging or keeping track of your hours on a painting and keeping track of the time, or maybe that was in the recording, but I'm sure that is helping to kind of dial in exactly the work that's going to go into it and how long it will take you to create.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the person. Like some commissions have been like, okay, I need this in like a month and a half because it was a a grandfather that passed away and it was for a funeral. And so it was like, okay, well, I got to give this my priority attention, and so I got it done. Some clients are like, hey, like take your time, take as long as you need, and that's cool too. It is nice to have a deadline, at least like an idea. And I mean, it's really just kind of individual. So I mean, it can be anywhere from like a month to a few months to giving space for a couple years even.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice. I don't usually get myself in a situation where I get a whole lot of pressure where it's like you need to have this done in 3 weeks, or like you're fired. so so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the space and for the freedom that a lot of my clients, collectors give me when they come to me. I definitely want to like honor their wishes for any kind of timeline that they present.
I was just going to ask kind of where do you find your clients for commissions? Are they on social media, personal friends? And do you do a lot of art shows? Like, how do you get yourself out in the world to be seen?
Yeah, it's a great question. Um, yeah, it's been definitely a combination. It's been just people I've met in person. Um, I only have had like a couple friends ask for commissions. Most of them have been from the internet, which is a beautiful thing. Thank you, internet, with all of your like weirdness and challenges. Like, it's incredible for an artist in this day and age. I mean, I think we can all admit that. And so, yeah, mostly through a social media. And so that's been awesome. I've been showcasing my work basically since 2008. So I've shown in galleries, I've um, shown at festivals, I've kind of all over the place. I've shown in group shows, I've had just a couple solo shows, and then I have commission work, and then I got into teaching in 2020 mostly. Like once the pandemic hit, it really was like, I guess it was like a needed thing at the time. And something else that I have a part of my offering menu is I offer a mentorship program to individuals that are interested in just getting further into their goals and dreams as an artist, whether it's like technical advancement or just how to get themselves out there in different ways, how to create a body of work, just different techniques to bring them the outcome of like what they want to have. And it's a catered curriculum, and that's been so cool. I offer different tiers, from like 10 sessions to 25 sessions, and then even like a 6 month deep dive. And that bloomed from a couple individuals just coming to me asking like, how can I work with you? I'd love to learn how to paint from you. And that's why I designed it. And so that's been a really awesome experience and enriching.
How long have you been doing that?
That's been going on since about 2021. Um, I started teaching like some like quicker programs that in like 2020 that were this rainbow energy painting technique that I came up with, and it's it's a step-by-step process that basically is a layered learning technique where one can learn how to paint intuitively from within and learn organic symmetry and learn how to work with egg tempera or casein and how to glaze, how to do line work, and yeah, how to paint a gradient. Some pretty basic things, but also things that an individual could just keep running with. You could incorporate it into mandala work, just your own interesting take on intuitive art, and it gives you a framework to understand a layering system. So that's been really cool. It's like this invented process that has really benefited a lot of incredible artists, and they've made really neat designs, and some of them began to teach, and some of them are just continually making fascinating artwork. And yeah, I love seeing it.
Really cool. So those courses are available on your website. I'll put the link for that in the show notes. But
Oh, that will be yes, the artist activation mentorship is available just through direct messaging, and I offer the rainbow energy painting one-on-one, but I'm actually graduating it to an e-course which should be launching here by October. I've been working on it for like 5 years. So it's like time. It's like, okay, I've got to just like record this and give it to the world and give myself some more space to make other artwork, because you've probably seen a lot of the rainbow energy paintings. I've made a lot of them as demonstrations, which has been so fun, but I want to challenge my edge as an artist and just make some new imagery. So,
and do you have any opportunities to learn from you, like in live person coming up? Do you have any seminars lined up?
um, yeah, I have. So I do some local workshops, and I have something exciting that's happening next year. I don't have all of the details just yet, so I'll just be revealing those as we continue on. I wish I could tell you more, but I don't have anything like just individually lined up as far as like a seminar that's like a longer duration, but definitely would love to. Maybe later in the year, you know? So I'll totally keep you posted about that.
All right, cool, cool.
Yeah. So I am currently involved in a really beautiful women's art collective called the Visionary Muse Collective. And there's about 24 of us. It's an ongoing thing. It started in 2020, and I was invited into it in, I believe, like mid 2021. And we paint one another in a theme. Last year they did something a little bit different. I think it was like how to be a change maker on planet Earth, or just an honoring of the Earth. I wasn't actually participating last year, just due to personal reasons, needing to really focus on my immediate life. Being a new mom to two little darling boys, and we're currently working on our new round of paintings of each other, and the theme is plant allies. And so that's really exciting, and we're going to be showing together next year, and that information will be revealing itself in the days to come, weeks to come. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Very cool. Speaking of plant allies, who do you team up with?
Who do I team up with? Well, these days, I really enjoy, I really have been enjoying hibiscus. Hibiscus tea. It's been incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's really great at this point in my life. It's really good for the liver. And yeah, I mean, I love sage. I like to sage my spaces often, and I like to use Palo Santo, and yeah, those are kind of my faves. I mean, I'm super into to flowers these days, and yeah, that's kind of where my interests lie in the plant realm these days.
I'm excited to see where these flower paintings go. What
Yeah,
comes
right.
out in them.
Yeah, it's I'm really excited about it. It's a process that's very fun. I get really abstract at the beginning. Um, and then I layer with like oils and egg tempera, and I just have a blast with all of the glazing, um and I always get surprised at the end, basically with every painting. That's like the really fun part of it is having a plan, but then um the decision making process is so just in the moment, and it has a instinctual quality to it. So you can't just control it the whole time. It kind of has its own life force at a certain point.
How much of your work is based on like a prior vision that you've had and kind of trying to bring that into this realm rather than just letting it become what it is?
Hmm. Yeah. I get a lot of downloads of imagery, and even like downloads for projects, like visions of like an ongoing project, and that comes through. That's kind of like how the Rainbow Warriors worked, and um, like I think you've probably seen some of my organic symmetry, mandala type esque paintings. Those were just very intuitive in the moment. Um, but I've actually recently been getting more inspired to create some visions that are just like in my mind that come to me, whether inspired by just like going on a walk, or um, like smelling smelling an essential oil. It's like I had this incredible vision recently. I There's this amazing line called Kate's Magic. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. You can get this at Dancing Crane. They sell that there, and it's like Reiki infused. Essential oil blends and body oils, and they smell amazing. And one of them is called I think it's like Illuminate, and so it's about like activating your third eye chakra. And I was putting it on my wrist, and I was just like, and when I closed my eyes, I had this incredible vision of just like, I mean, it could be myself, and I had this beautiful sunset just in my chest, and like all of these stars were around me, and it was like, whoa, like wow, this magic really works. Like my third eye has been activated by the scent of neroli and orange and grapefruit. So so those are like just kind of random moments where I get visions, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I could like create this whole oracle deck based on this vision. And um so I mean, honestly, I'm just thinking about, dreaming about all of these projects all the time. And yeah, I'm excited to just work on them and share them with the world, and offer them. So
That's pretty amazing.
thank you.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Thanks, Canon.
Yeah. So like what's the next step in your mastery? Like what's the next step for you? Like just continuing doing the work. It seems like you're doing the work every day.
Yeah, absolutely. The self mastery, just like being an awesome mom, being present with my children because it's so fleeting, and then that just teaches you about the presence of life. It's just fleeting. Um, Really, just taking that into consideration instead of like, oh, these dreams I have, which of course I have, and I'm looking forward to and excited about. I also have to be like, well, you know what? Like, this is it though. Like this is all there is. And yeah, like when I'm in the future, I'm just going to be here again. And so like I might as well just like take in this moment right now and be present as possible, because that's the best thing that I can do to really be as present as I can in the future, because it's really just a series of now moments, right? So that I consider that all the time. I think about death a lot. That's actually been a really huge inspiration in my life, just because it gives you a different type of decision making process. Like of course it's good to think long term. I'm definitely thinking way more long term than I ever have. But just what's the most important thing to me? What's the most important thing to you is really like what I want to focus on. And then as far as my art practice goes, I really want to explore more imagery. I'm excited to create more studies. I really want to incorporate more landscape into my work, um, and really just do a lot of nature studies. That's something I've been thinking about a lot. I recently just had this really cool vision of this horse with this mandala just like beaming from it, and I was like, "Whoa, that would be so cool! I should like put that in my show next year." And there we go. Like I just remembered I'm having a big duo show in Boise next year,
Very
and it's
cool.
going to be in June. It's with one other artist. Her name is Emily Wenner, and that's going to be really cool because um, it's going to be me showing more work than I have since my earlier solo show back like 7 years ago, um, at the Binko Art Gallery. And this is just going to be a lot of new work, and I'm still really just like thinking about what type of work I'm going to show. There was a theme that came up in my mind recently for it, and all of a sudden it was like, let it heal you. Just like sometimes when I'm painting or something, like things just pop into my mind. That's a really cool thing about painting.
Isn't it the
um,
best though? Like when you can get that mind to empty out and you're not thinking or doing anything, you're just being. That's when
yes,
it's allowed to come into you, it seems.
absolutely, yeah, and that's what happened. It was like, let it heal you, and what I got from that as far as like the show, because it was very like distinct. Like this is what I want to get out of this art show. I want to make work that feels good, that I just love making, and also honoring the themes that I've been working with the last 10 years or so, and almost having like multiple bodies of work to showcase and share with the community in Boise, and what the some of the world has known me for in my creation process. And so just really thinking about that theme, breathing into it, like what do I really want to create for this, and like what's going to be the most powerful work for me to make that can represent where I'm at in my art career, my art life and journey. Um,
What kind of feelings do you hope to give to people who view your artwork?
yeah, one of my intentions for the viewer's experience is to really just feel my work on a visceral level, and like where words can't really translate, getting almost like a guttural experience when they see what I'm conveying, something that's communicated through feeling. And if I can transmit that and someone sees my work, usually in person, it's more powerful. But, even if you see it on a screen, it can also be a potent experience. And just feeling it as on an authentic expression, and whatever the piece is that I'm working on. It's getting kind of dark in here. Um, and the moon is out. It's like a little Cheshire cat grin. And yeah, I want my work to be felt. And some people really love it, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's me," or "Oh my gosh, like that is insane. That's like, what the heck is that? I love it." And then some people can't stand it, and they're like, "Oh, like what do you paint? Just like colors and shapes?" And it's like, well, that's what art is, basically. So, um,
Well, and how do you not
it's
let the people that you are creating for in the end dictate like what you are creating? Like you're leading the show here with your creations and taking them for a journey. And so how do you
Mhm.
kind of balance that between like, oh, I'm going to play to my audience that wants this thing more so rather than just doing what is in your heart?
Mhm. Yeah, that's a great question. Um, that's something I think about, and something I personally am really exploring in my process of like what I want to be creating, is like, what do I really want to be looking at now? Like the imagery that I was making, several years ago is not like doing it for me the same way as it is now, but it was just very much more process oriented. A lot of my more like intuitive organic symmetry paintings I love to do, and I want to make some more, but those would actually sell more than like my portraits, or like some more like classical realistic stuff. Which is funny because you think it'd be kind of the opposite. um so like when I was doing the Rainbow Warriors, and why it took me so long is because I wasn't really selling them at the time, and I was selling these more intuitive paintings. So in some ways it was like something that I was doing for me, because I didn't really have to prepare for it too much. I just got to go play and meditate with my colors, and it would support me in the process. So um as far as like wanting to satisfy the audience or the collectors, I think at this point that they're more interested in like what I want to develop now, you know? Because if I just kept painting the same mandalas and like the same like flowing forms, I'm like almost kind of becoming slightly bored of it because I want to like explore my edge. Maybe I can incorporate aspects of that, but I think that whatever I'm really just inspired to actually see visually myself, I think will translate to the viewer or the fan or the audience or whoever is even interested in what I'm doing, um, in a way that they'll really like, and if they don't, that's okay, because they like the work that I'm creating, and I'm here to grow. I'm not here to just find one thing and just do that forever. That's not what I'm interested in. I mean, that's where I see series being a logical thing as an artist. And I think naturally style just comes through because it's your hand, it's the way that you layer colors, the way that you decide to incorporate your brushstrokes or not, or, I mean, all of that is gonna happen whatever you choose to be painting. And so I think whatever you feel really strongly to paint, is that's what needs to come through. And yeah, that's kind of my thought about it.
Amazing. Powerful, powerful. Well, I think, yeah, that was a pretty powerful way to wrap up. So I'd love to just give you the opportunity to speak about anything that you missed or anything that's on the tip of your tongue, and tell the people where they can find you. I'll put the links in the show notes as well.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you so much for this experience. It's so fun to talk about it because just it's been amazing. So you can find me on Instagram at jennifer.michelle.mcEwen. You can find me on Facebook at Jennifer Michelle McEuen Art. Or, you can connect with me on my personal page, which is just Jennifer Michelle McEuen. My website is Jennifer Michelle McEuen. And yeah, I'm going to be starting a Substack soon, which I'm super stoked about. That'll be a really cool platform to work with. It's a little bit more like long form writing, and I feel like I'll be able to go deeper into like what I'm really creating instead of just like a quick little pic and small caption and it disappears after 6 hours or whatever. So yeah, that is where you can find me on the internet.
Any last words of wisdom? Because I know you got a lot of wisdom in there, and I just want to hear. I just want to hear something.
Aw, thanks.
I need a little gift.
Oh, let's see. Words of wisdom. I mean, can you
Sorry,
give me a
putting you
little
on
bit
the
of like a
spot here.
theme?
Uh, yeah, just like I'm a bit kind of not lost, but just kind of creating and not. I don't have a specific thing that I'm working on, so maybe you could just give me a tip.
Of course, yeah. Listen to your heart on the images that make you come alive. And the energy that you want to bring, and to do your best to encapsulate what makes you happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
It's a time to go back on the tracks, on a journey of healing, to remember our roots, who we are, and our interconnectivity with all of life. From there, we will build a new operating system that honors natural laws and the creative spirit inherent in all. Join me and my artist friends on the Vision Train.
And we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we're talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We're talking about practice. But we talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice? We're talking about practice, man. We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. We ain't talking about the game. We're talking about practice, man.